Hello and good morning. Welcome to Stampin' Chat. Just going to have a quick check that I'm live in the right place. Okay. How are we doing? We are having another change in the weather here in the UK. So we've gone from like a bit of a heat wave now to wanting to put socks back on. So it's a bit dull, a bit grey and a bit grim at the moment and a little bit chilly. So, but today I am beginning with another Stampin' Chat live. So for July, how are we in July already? So we've got a series of 2 live stamping sessions, and both stamping sessions will focus on one product bundle with some other things thrown in, but specifically using the same colours, the same products for both lives during the month. So I go live on the first Tuesday and the third Tuesday. You can purchase kits to stamp along with me on the third Tuesday, which is generally 3 cards. And you can purchase those. Today is the last day to actually book and pay for those so that I can get them cut, prepared, packed and posted out to you to make sure that they arrive for the live on the third Tuesday, which I think is the 16th of July. So hello if you are watching. Hi Jill, how are you doing? Nice to have you here. I don't know if you are catching on the fly. I see names pop up sometimes and then I think you're maybe just scrolling, so I don't know how it all works. But do say hello, let me know where you're from if I don't know you, if we haven't met before. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator from Gloucestershire in the UK, and I'm going to be sharing some projects with you this morning. I've got 2 3D projects and a card, so and lots of things to talk about. So I think going to get you down onto my desk. I am hoping, Jill, maybe you can confirm that sound quality is better. I went out and bought myself a new phone on Sunday morning. I was at the end of my tether last week. I just ran out of storage, and I've got quite a few photos on my phone and quite a few videos, and there's a lot I don't want to get rid of. I tried getting them onto my hard drive. I bought a cable to do it and just nothing was happening. So I've bit the bullet, spent the money and bought the new iPhone. So hopefully, fingers crossed, sound is good. Right, talking of sound, you're going to get my muffled hand on the phone when I turn it down. Sound is good this morning. That is good to hear. Right. Bear with the palm of the hand. Let's get you down onto the desk. Wiggle you around. Try and do this as pain-free as possible. Plug my light in. I haven't done that already. And then we'll zoom you in a little bit. How are you doing, Jill? Come on, zoom. Why won't you zoom? Okay. Zoom does not want to happen. You're going to be at long distance. I do not know why. Sorry, I'm fiddling. If you can see wobbling, that is not good. Why are you not zooming? It won't let me zoom in. How frustrating. And I can't go any lower with my stand. Okay. I guess we'll just have to go with that. I'm doing everything I normally do. How annoying. Oh well. I'm here, I'm live, that's the main thing. The sound is good. Move that light, wobbling you around a bit. It just means I have to be extra tidy so you cannot, you can't see all the mess. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm not a messy crafter. I'm a tidy crafter. I am tidy. So, good morning, Renee. Or is it good evening for you? Yeah, things are good with me, Jill. I have been super tired the last couple of days. I don't know what's going on. It's probably those hormones again, but really tired. Yesterday, I mean, I'm not a day napper, but I could have sat down and shut my eyes for 10 minutes. I just felt as if I'd been ran over by a steamroller. It did pass as the evening went on. It did pass. So it's really bugging me that I can't zoom in. And I don't get why, because it normally lets me. You can see me wobbling around here. No, it's not going to let me. How frustrating. Never mind, you'll just have to see what I'm doing from a distance and zoom me in from your end. My live video has ended. Thank you very much, connection. Just makes it awkward now to see your comments when it does that. Right, here, let's get on with the show. I'm going to show you what products I'm using, but first of all, I need to just mention a couple of things that are going to be happening this month, because if I don't do it now, I will forget. So first things first, starting tomorrow, which is the 3rd of July, we have got bonus days coming. If you've been with Stampin' Up for some time, you will have heard of bonus days. But basically, during July, from tomorrow, when you spend £45, you earn yourself a coupon code that's valued at £4.50 towards a purchase during August. Okay, so you earn them in July. You save your coupon code, so for each £45 you spend, you get a code, and then during August you can redeem them. But you must use them by the end of August or they will expire. So that is bonus days. We also have some new online exclusives coming, which is super exciting. I've got a couple of products to show you at the end. Hopefully I won't forget. Shout at me if I forget. So if you don't know what online exclusives are, they are basically new products that come and they are not in a catalogue, so you will only find them online. Let's just have another go with the zoom. Why won't it do it? I'm doing what I normally do. It's just not loving me doing it. So, so with the online exclusives, it doesn't mean you have to shop online. You can shop direct with me if you're not very tech savvy, but you have to view the products online. So one of the embossing folders I'm using today is this one here, which I call it the ice cream cone one, because it's got that kind of lovely like waffle sort of texture, but it comes as a set of 3. And the others are equally beautiful. So I'm going to be using that one. Let's put the other 2 away. I've got some lovely embossing folders at the minute. It's been hard choosing which that I want to use. So our focus of the day is the Layers of Beauty. And these are the dies that go with them. So we've got the huge die here that cuts out this big flower. And then we've got other dies that cut out a partial image from this one, so it's not shown at true size, but that one cuts out that one, and then we've got this little flower and leaf sprig that cuts out that one, and then we've got the standalone ones as well. Obviously we've got these that work with these dies. We've got these lovely foliage dies too. Alfie's having a wander. For those of you that have been asking, he is back to normal. His hair's growing back. He had a massive shaved off area where he had his operation, but yeah, he is definitely back to his normal self, bless him. So the other stamp set I'm using is My Small Business. You may have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen my little reel. There will be more coming about that. But if you're in my VIP group, which is a group that's designed for people that do connect with me, people that come to the studio to classes and people that purchase kits, then you get invited into that group. I did do a little live video showing how to make this treat pouch, and I've used the thank you greeting from the My Small Business. Now, don't be thrown by the title. You don't have to own a business to buy this stamp set. It is beautiful. It's got these two fab greetings if you like to make and send cards, or if you make cards to sell. Let's just turn my light up a bit. Then this is a great one for you. And if you have got a little side hustle, then this is a good one to create thank you gifts and thank you cards, just to say thank you for those people that support you. So we're going to be using one of the greetings, I think that one there, from that set. And then with the Layers of Beauty, along with the dies in the bundle, we've got this fabulous set of masks. So we have the masks for the Enduring Beauty stamp set. Let me grab a couple of cards because I've got some standing up. So this was the Enduring Beauty. This has the masks to colour in these flowers as well. And they are just adorable. And I just love how easy and simple it is to add colour to these stamped images. And Stampin' Up have been very clever with that thought process of adding these masks. So anyway, you're going to see them in action today. Right, let's put those to one side, put my stamps to one side. Running out of space already. And let's show you this stamp. So I've mounted it on our large F block. It looks a bit grubby actually. But you can see just how big this image is. It is beautiful, lovely lined image. You don't have to use the masks to colour in. You could just literally use blending brushes. You could use your Stampin' Blends pens, or you could use watercolour pencils, whatever you like, however you like colouring in. So my colours of the day are Fresh Freesia, Bubble Bath, Soft Seafoam, and then we're using a bit of grey granite as well. So that's our colours. Let's move those out of the way. And let's get the first packet ready. I'm just going to have one more go and see if I can zoom in. There's not another button that I have to press, is there? No, it's nothing has changed except I've got a new phone. Nothing has changed. Okay. Right, we're going to start with a little 3D project first. There's all my bits and pieces. I think what we're going to do is get some stamping done first. And now I'm just remembering I was supposed to cut some cardstock so that I could stamp onto it. And for all three of my projects, I am just going to stamp one of this image and colour it in. Basically because of the live, I didn't want to be cutting, blending and taking forever for the sake of the live. So I've pulled out my memento. We're going to ink this beast of a Stamp Up. Now, everybody that does this, so I'm using, because my ink surface is smaller than my stamped image, I'm going to take my ink to the image because it's just easier than trying to do it how we normally do it, like this. It's just much easier. Turn it over. Now, because the memento is, I guess it's not as big as our general ink pad, and because our stamp is bigger, 9 times out of 10 our fingers will touch where we're inking as we do this process. So just be mindful of that. You know, when you end up with that fingerprint and you're wondering how it got there, it's usually for the process of things like this. Right, I'm going to put the lid on there. So that's pretty well inked. Now we're just going to stamp it down. We'll be as savvy as we can with our paper. Give it a good firm press. If you've got a stamp placement tool, like the old Stamparator, then you could use this at this point. Let's move you out of the way. So I'm afraid you are going to have to be a long way away from me today. I'm going to have a play and see why it's not zooming. Right, what we want to do next is locate our masks. Now, if I got a scrap bit of let's pull in a scrap bit of grid just for a moment, because I like my base one when I'm working to be kept clean. Now, our masks, if you've not seen these in action before, Stampin' Up have done lots of videos and things about these, but there are 5 masks in this set. If I just hover that like that, you can see hopefully a little number in the corner, it's just catching the light. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then each one has a little notch. So the way this is designed, because of it all depends how you stamp your image onto your cardstock. This mask isn't going to line up square with my paper. So basically what we want to do, I'm going to take number 1 and we're going to position. So for the sake of, doesn't really matter, let's just tape down. First of all, I'm going to tape down my stamped image. Let's keep it straight, and then that might help with your eye. So I'm just going to tape this one down to start with. And then I'm going to locate where this one sits on the top. And I'm looking at these 3 central flowers and then these here, and I'm going to match them up with the image below. Okay, so I'm looking here, I'm looking here, and I'm looking here, and I'm lining up the mask with all 3. And then with my pencil, where this little V is here, I'm just going to draw a little notch like that. Now, because I've used these masks quite a bit, I tend not to do this because I can lay the mask down quite easily and see where it has to go. But when you're starting out, by making that little pencil mark there, when you put the next mask down, it's just a little bit easier for you to kind of know where to set it first of all. So I'm going to take another couple of pieces of washi tape, make sure that's lined up properly, and just tape that down. And then what I'm going to do is locate my 2 ink colours, or 3 even, but we'll start with the flowers. So I'm going to be using Fresh Freesia and Bubble Bath. Such a sweet, subtle combination. And I've pulled out my blending brushes. I haven't checked actually that they're pretty clean. This one I do tend to keep for just soft sea foam, so that one should be okay. Right, as I've done that, I've moved my paper. Wasn't very clever. And I just say, don't worry if this hasn't lined up completely or it moves. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. So what we're going to do is start with Fresh Freesia. I need to look at my projects to see which colours I've done what. And we also need a post-it note. So we're just going to grab a post-it note. So I'm going to ink up my blending brush. I'm going to take the initial harshness off, and I want to colour in these 2 roses in the middle, but I don't want to colour these flowers here. So I'm just going to hold that over and gently, because I'm using the same ink colours for different masks, which you'll see become clear in a moment. So I'm just going to gently add some colour to these roses in the middle. I'm going to move that. Put some colour on that side. Hope this is not rocking the table too badly. And I think that's probably enough. Now it doesn't look like there's much colour on there, but if we lift, let's move you out of the way. If we lift this mask up, oh, if we could get our nails under it. Can you see that we have created some colour? So the key is, because I want to use one ink colour to do the job of different shading, we need to go really light first time round. Now, you could, of course, add a darker colour at the next stage for the next mask, but I'm trying to keep it simple. So that's our first flower. The next flowers we're going to do are going to be in Bubble Bath. So let's just add a bit of colour with these. We're going to start with these up here and just add a light bit of colour. We'll do those bits there. A bit more ink. That little flower there. And then the rest of it. Hopefully you can see and it's not wobbling my camera too much. So we're just adding a delicate amount of colour. Again, we can lift it and have a little peek, just so that we're sure we've got some colour, and I am pretty sure that's going to be enough. So that is our first mask done. Now this might seem like a long process, but I'm waffling and chatting as we go. When you're doing this yourself, you can easily whip through this process. Right, next we are picking up number 2. Not sure if you can see that there. And I'm going to take that and line it up to that V that I originally had there. And that is pretty much bang on where I want it to be. So just going to tape that down. I'm really annoyed that you're a million miles away. Sorry, I'm just trying to zoom in again and it's not loving it. And what we're going to do now, so this is the next layer, and you do have to be careful with these masks because these little pieces want to pop up a little bit, so you just have to be gentle with them. We're going to go back in and do the same process again. So we're going to start with the centre roses with the fresh freesia, but this time we're going to apply more pressure. So I'm just going to take the initial off. So we're just going to add much more pressure, go really gently over those little pieces that are sticking up. And then we're just building up. I'm going to add a bit more because we need to see the difference between the first layer. And then we'll do this flower as well. I think that's probably enough. And then she says, and I'm going to do a bit more there. I do that every time, don't I? I think we'll just have a peek because it's just good to know. That's fine. It's a bit like when you're having your hair done, your highlights, you have to have a little peek and make sure that there's enough colour on there. Right, now we're going to go in with the bubble bath. So we're going to add some ink, take that initial harshness off, and then just go over the top. My hands are in the way. You can't really see what I'm doing at that point. And just covering over. Don't need that. Oh, that's making my back ache. I've been doing lots of gardening over the weekend as well. So that was mask number 2. Let's take that off and see how gorgeous that is looking. Love it. So I don't want to, I could move it from down there. So that was mask number 2. Now there is a mask number 3, which just adds extra shadows, but because I'm using one colour ink, I'm not going to get enough of a gradient, so I'm going to keep it as it is. I could pull in another colour and it will just add more shading to this rose, but for these projects I'm really not going to bother. So we've put number 3 to one side, and now we're pulling in number 4. Okay, I'm going to line up that V. Now this number 4 is for the leaves, and I'm looking at all like 3 or 4 different points to make sure that I'm lined up with all the images. I'm going to put my fresh freesia and my bubble bath away for now and pull in my soft sea foam. And again, just take that initial harshness. I can go all the way over this mask now because we're doing all of the leaves. My goodness, can you hear Alfie snoring with this super duper new phone? I'm wondering whether you can actually hear him snoring under the table. Goodness. Bless his heart. Okay, so I've just added a layer of sea foam to all of those leaves. So it's just very soft and subtle, just how I like things. And then finally the last mask is number 5. So I'm going to initially pop it up there and then just turn it until it sits over the lined images of all the leaves. And then we're going to go back in. So I'm going to pull quite a bit of ink. And this time I'm going to press harder just to add colour. And this does feel like a bit of a process, but believe me, when you're doing a few of these in one go, you really can speed up. And remember, this I'm using for all 3 of my projects today. Hoping that should be enough. Let's pull it up and have a look. We can always put it back down if we're not sure. Yep, that's enough. Every time I do this, I am just like, wow, how beautiful and how easy is it to create that lovely coloured image. Honestly, stunning. It's just stunning. And people that don't understand how the masks work are also stunned when they see this process. Right. Ink's away for the moment, and what we're going to do is cut this one out. So let's pull our plates in. Once we've done this, I will be kind of motoring on, and we want to pull in the large one, and then I'm going to cheekily do a couple of other bits while just looking at my last projects. Let's do one of those as well because we've got room while these are down. So you can see here, if I take that one off, which one does that cut? That one? That die there cuts out that individual rose. So it's really clever set. And the whole bundle, where have my stamps gone? Is just £54. So that's stamps, dies, and masks. Absolutely amazing. Right, I'm gonna need some tape because we do not want this moving, and obviously we need to colour it before we cut it out because it will just be tricky with the mask. So we'll take that down. Those 3 will probably be okay there. Try and be savvy with our saving of our cardstock, and then we're going to pop our top plate on, and I'm just going to run that through my machine show you really my using my machine, just because it wobbles everywhere and it moves everything. But our cutting machine is brilliant. Right, so we've got these lovely oops. Put those away. Just push those pieces out. Back on my magnetic sheet. Just push that a little bit out as well. So, got those little pieces I've just cut. Scrape those bits off, and now gently, because that washi tape was quite clingy, we don't want to tear it. And we can use these bits later for some die cutting. Reuse those bits of washi. Pop that one back on. Move that out of the way. But just look at that. Now I am going to hack into this, but honestly, you need this stamp set. It is stunning, absolutely stunning. I'm blown away with it, and I just want to do so many different things with it, so many different colorways. It's just gonna look so different. So, and obviously flowers are kind of great for everything. They work with lots of different occasions. Right, what do I need on this one? I am going to chop. Let's chop it now. So I'm going to chop into, just going to chop off. Do I need that little leaf there? I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep it on. I'm just debating whether I need to keep that little leaf there or not. So I'm going to go right close like that. And just trim that off and save that bit for later. Now I'm just going to trim up to the edges. So nothing tricky, just trimming it off and making it look neat. Don't think I need that bit down there, but we'll keep that there just for now, just in case. So we've got our stamped, lovely stamped rose. Right, on to the project. So we have got, I'll quickly run through measurements, but obviously if you purchase the kits for today, obviously you can't stamp live with me, but you can stamp on the replay, then you will get written measurements for this. So, and this little box derived from something that I created last month. So what have we got? I need my longer ruler, which is down here. So we've got 2 pieces of fresh freesia measuring 4 3/4. Actually, I've got some measurements somewhere. Four and 3/4 by 7 1/4. That's right, got the right pieces. And then another piece which measures 3 3/8 by 6 inches. Okay, so that's my 2 pieces. And then I've got another piece of cardstock. This is Bubble Bath and it measures 2.5 by 6.5. Right, what we're going to do is start with some scoring. Let's grab my scoring tool. Also need to do a little bit of die cutting, I've just realised. We'll take the larger piece and literally on the landscape side, so on the longer edge, we're going to score. Are we in shot? Yeah. We're going to score at 2 inches. I hope this is right because I've only made one of these as well. And I made this a little while ago. So, you know, when you get something back out and you kind of have to try and revisit how you did it. 2 7/8. We've got 4 7/8 and 5 3/4. Okay, so we're just scoring landscape on there. And then on the other piece, so this is the 6 inch by 3 3, we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch along each side. So 3/4 and turn and repeat on each side. So we literally end up with a piece looking like that. Scoreboard can go to one side for a minute. I might as well, maybe, if also if you purchase the kits, I will put in a visual basic white kind of template for you, so you've got something visual to look at. Right, let's put my pieces to the right side, otherwise I'm going to be doing something else with them. So, hello Belle, how are you doing? You having a tidy up in your kitchen? Oh, I know, this colour combo. So fresh freezer, bubble bath and soft sea foam. It's just in my dreams. Perfect colour combo. Very soft, very subtle, just how I like it. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to pull in my little spongy mat and a bit of scrap. I want my ruler back and my scory tool. And what I want to do is just score diagonally from each of these inner corner points out to the centre, to the edge rather. That was totally, I said totally the opposite of what I meant. So like from in that corner out to the edge. I'll just do this on a foamy mat because it just helps to get a better score. So Belle, you might kind of recognise where I'm going with this. So anal, I have to put everything back in its little place when I'm done with it, and then my theory is that if I put it back in its slot in my caddy, that when I go to use it in 20 seconds, that it's going to be there and not have disappeared. So I'm thinking, I'll wait to do that. Right, what we want to do now is a little bit of creasing with our bone folder. So we're going to gently fold on each of these. So all 4 sides. This is a really good treat again. Tombow under my nails. For just a little thank you for somebody. Right, that little diagonal there, we're just going to kind of like pinch it in and squeeze it. So on each corner, just going to pull it in and squeeze it. I'm feeling the pain in my hands where I've been doing gardening and weeding and pulling. My hands are like, they're painful, they're aching. We've got a load of bamboo at the back of the house, and the ivy was coming through it, and trying to pull it all off of the fence was just like hard work, but I can feel it in my joints. They're all very stiff and a bit achy. Right, what I want to do is just reinforce those score lines that I just made. So I'm just kind of getting my bone folder in and giving it a good crease, just so that it helps it to sit a bit neater, a bit flatter. Okay. So we've got like a little tray there. And then basically this piece, let's do our creasing. What have you all been up to at the weekend? Told you I've been doing a bit of gardening. Went out and bought a new olive tree as well, because we lost the last one in the frost when we had a big frost last year, and they just never came back. We had a beautiful big olive tree. It was quite expensive, and we lost that as well. It just dropped all his leaves, and we haven't been able to revive it, which is quite sad. So we went out and did a bit of garden shopping. We also got a new umbrella for the hot tub as well. So for the nights in the winter when it's raining or snowing, so that we've just got shelter over us. That's really what it's for. Although we did go in it last night. We've been in it a couple of times in the last week. We don't normally go in it during the summer. We turn the temperature right down. And but last night I was like, before bed, should we go in the hot tub? So we did, had a quick 20 minutes chill. Although I was nodding off in there. It's just so relaxing and so warm. We didn't have the jets on, so we just kind of like chatted. So it was lovely. Right, so what we're going to do with this one, right, at this point, Belle, you will know exactly what I'm doing. And for anybody else who caught me on my live at the beginning of June, you will see a pattern. So I'm literally going to stick this straight down in. So Tombow on the back. Uh-oh, this happened last time, didn't it? There we go. Just a bit glued up at the end. So we'll just pop some Tombow on. And then we're going to lay it down in this centre panel. So it's nice and even. Like that. Just hold it for a minute. Just give that little crease while it's in there. And then when we fold it up, we've got this little box. So this is, it works on the principle that we've got a shorter tab here and a longer tab here, but the shorter tab goes in, which then gives us that piece to push, and then we've got the shorter tab on the top. So this was derived from this, which was a swap design that I received from Belle. So it's the same principle. I've just made it a different size. So what we're going to do next is take our piece of bubble bath. So we have to make sure that one is in there, because that's what gives us our true measurement. If we put that one in there, it might go in a little bit. Do you get what I mean? That end there, this butts up to the edge so that we know we've got the exact size. So we're going to wrap it so that the shorter panel is on the front. I'm going to take our piece of bubble bath and we're just going to kind of fold it around, give it a little pinch at the edges, kind of pull it sort of quite tight. Can you see we've got a bit of gappage there, but we're kind of just pinch it a little bit on those edges. So it's kind of given us some determined score marks. If you try and measure a belly band, it will never fit properly. Well, not in my experience anyway. And I find this is the best way to do it, is just to like wrap it round as best you can. It's easier with DSP because it's slightly thinner. But I think this is the best way that I've found to do it. You may know a better way. So now we've got our score lines determined there, and we're going to put our join at the front. Okay, so it goes around like that. Now when we glue this, we don't want to glue it too tight or it won't come off. We won't be able to get inside. So I'm just going to put Tombow on both of those edges and glue them together. But I'm not going to push it right in. I'm going to let it just kind of be relaxed with it so that it comes off. We need it to hold firmly together, but also we don't want it so tight that we can't get it off. Okay. So we're just letting that sit for a minute. You can always get something under there. I think because it's slightly glued already, we'll take it off. And there we have our little closure. Right, next I need to just do a bit of die cutting, and then we need to stamp our greeting. Now, I've recently been pulling this set out just because such a useful one. I've got a piece of basic white, and I'm just going to use this die and just run that through my machine. Such a useful set of dies, this one, because you've got the different shapes, got the squares, and then we've got that on there like that. Then we've got a strip of soft sea foam. I couldn't think what colour it was then for a minute. I so wish I could zoom in. I don't know why it's not letting me. You're going to hear me going on about this all of the video. Why is the zoom not working? And then we're going to do some stamping on here. So you remember the My Small Business stamp set? Got some good greetings in here. So it's great just for a general thank you. But I've inked up this one just because I love how clear it is, and it's quite bold. So we're going to go with our grey granite. Just pull in my foam mat. Ink that one up. This piece is a bit wider than what I had originally. And stamp it down. I wonder if that might be a bit wide. Did I measure that at 5/8? We could have got away with 1/2 inch. I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch sliver and see if that just looks a bit better to my eye. It's not a lot smaller, but things like this, to me, they make a difference. Just I haven't got a lot of room where I want this to go. Now I'm stamping it, it doesn't look any different. It's like a smidge. Such a fuss, aren't I? I'm going to do that up because I'm bound to drop something in it. You're all very quiet this morning. Are you like me, worn out? Right, you want some dimensionals. So I'm going to pop a couple behind there. That bit there is a piece that was left off of the edge of the previous sheet. I will come to use that at some point. Right, what we're going to do first is pop some dimensionals behind this layer. I'll just put 3 on as a triangle to balance it out. I'm going to start with this belly band in the middle as much as possible. I'm just going to pop our white circle down first. Then we're going to add in our strip of sea foam, which is going to hide the join. So I'm just going to pop some Tombow in the middle. And I can see I've missed a part of this process, but it really doesn't matter because it doesn't show very much. So we just got a little strip there that you could have found in your scraps. Now we're going to come back to our flower that we did earlier. You like the bigger version of this? Yeah, it does use more cardstock, so you could get both out of one sheet of card for sure. So what have we got? The base is 6. Yeah, you can get them both out, but not quite as savvy as if you wanted to do the inner piece. Sorry, that was my scrawled instructions. If you want to do the inner piece in DSP, that's not very savvy with your 12 by 12. So I'm going to pop this flower. Don't think I need that leaf there after all. Let's chop it off. Off you go. Might need to just tidy that bit up a little bit though. And around. Oops, everything everywhere. And I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals. And lay this one down before we put our greeting on, so we're going to slide our greeting in. I'm kind of just going to hook it down somewhere. Oops, that way a little bit. Up you come. That's it. So we're just hooking it on the top of that soft sea foam. And then we're going to wedge in our thanks. Just under. Oop, straight. Just on there like that. And then we'll finish off by adding in. You have to be gentle with this, it's quite wobbly. And we'll just pop a little bit of Tombow, because we just need it to anchor. And we'll try and get it underneath there. And then just hold it down with your, getting hooked. Take your pick tool. And there we go. Show you the one that I did earlier. Very much the same. But I did do some splats on this one. And then inside, I've got one of, I just realised I had an extra layer inside. So that's an optional added extra you could just do, add in some, you could add pattern paper, or you can see I've just popped in some, I can't get my colours out today. I want to say Blushing Bride, but it's not. What colour is it? Bubble Bath. Oh, brain, engage. And I've just embossed it with that Basics embossing folder. But the pickups work in there. I wonder if I got one of my Ella treats lingering yet in my work bag. I wonder if that would, it's not going to fit. What if we tucked the wrapper in? I think it's too wide. Yeah, it's a little bit. It would go. It would go. Just about. But these work much better. So we just pop that in. Slide the belly band on. So you can see how we've repurposed this idea and recreated one that's much bigger. So the same but different. The same idea, just a different process. And obviously different options. So you may get a gift card inside that. I need to have one hanging over here because I've got so many projects that require a gift card. So that is project number 1. Oh, are we really an hour in? I will get a wriggle on for the next ones. Right, next I thought we'd do a card, and then the last one, a favour box. Yes, Belle, that would be great for table setting. Really good idea. Yeah, so if anyone is like helping someone out, doing some wedding favours, or, you know, if you've got a party coming up and you're looking for a little something to put on everyone's table setting, that would be perfect. Sheet of cardstock, bit of stamping, little piece, easy peasy scoring really, isn't it? And then you're done. Right, card. We've got fresh freesia base, bubble bath. Why can I not get that name out today? Bubble bath layer. Let's get my card out so I can see what I'm doing. And basic white layer we're going on top with. So what I'm going to do first is emboss this layer, because I need to emboss it. So we're going to use this beautiful one, and I'm going to put it in a way that we wouldn't normally. Now it's difficult. I explained this to you before. Can you see what's happened to my embossing folder? Somebody has put it through my machine without putting the grey plate on the top, and it has caused it to bend, and it's now just super bendy, which makes it difficult to use. So when you are using yours, remember that the plate goes on the top. So we have our base plate number 1, then our folder goes down, and then this lovely grey plate goes on the top. Right, I just need to make sure that is straight. And because this is bendy, it's a job to see. Let's just go with that and hope it is. So we're going to pop that one down, grey one on top, and I'll just run that through. And then we've got this beautiful, got a bit of adhesive there, stuck on the folder. Got that beautiful embossed layer. And what we're going to do is, I showed you this last time, or actually I might have showed you this, now it looks a bit crooked. Where the embossing finishes, I'm sorry that I can't zoom in, but where the embossing finishes, I'm just going to draw a scored line in there. And I just like how this finishes off when you're kind of like partially embossing. So it just gives you that line at the end there, like that. Right, the next thing I need to do is die cut from my Stylish Shapes. Should imagine it's the largest one. Let's check. Yeah. And we'll just run that one through. Like that. Cut that one out. Next on my list is to create, I love the negatives you get left with stuff as well, is to create a scrapbook layout with these colours following on from this live, because I just think these colours are adorable, and this set, these flowers would just look wonderful on a scrapbook page or a mini album or something. So if you're just joining, please do say hello. See, there's a few of you on. Let us know where you're from. We don't bite. What I'm going to do first is do what I forgot to do last time. So I'm going to bring in some scrap, taking my square, and I've pulled out one of my aqua painters. Is that what they're called now? They changed the name. Then I've got a little mini block, and I've got some grey granite. Yeah, of course, Belle. I'll catch up with you later. Thank you for stopping by. Enjoy your walkies. I need to go with my little man at some point. Probably maybe after my live. I've got a lot more filming to do though, so maybe I'll leave it until later. So I've just popped a little dot of ink on there, and then I'm just going to squeeze on my blending brush. I didn't check if this was, I think we used this last time. Just going to add a little drop of water in there. It's just coming out, can you see? It's going to mix that in, and that is quite watery. Maybe a bit too much water, but I'm just going to add a bit of splat. Maybe it's not dark enough. Oh, that'll be fine. On this background layer. We'll give that brush a clean later. And if you can afford to not use this little block, that ink, that will just dry up and you can add water to it and use it again. So we've just got some very subtle splats on the back of there. And then I was on a bit of a mission for using up scraps. So you see the theme on the box that I did, just using up a scrap of the soft sea foam, because we all end up with those long strips that we don't really know what to do with. So I thought, let's just use some up. We'll cut them to the same length and use them on our card. So I've got one in fresh freesia and then another one in sea foam. I'm just going to add them towards the bottom of our card. Even border each side. And then pop the sea foam one on top, well, above it, not on top of it. Leave a little gap. Oh, Snorri Joe down there. Like that. And then we're going to add in our, in fact, I want to slide that under a bit, so just make sure it'll go in. I'm just Hufflepuffing on that. And that will just lift up a bit. We can always chop the edge off. So, and that one is going to go in there. But I should have put that one down first because I want it to tuck underneath. So I'm literally going to snip off a little bit from the bottom and wedge it under. So we're not layering it because we want our flowers to be layered above. I'll just pop that one down a bit central, like that. So we've just got our 3 layers down, and then now we can pop that onto our bubble bath layer. I've got another Tombow ready to hand because I'm motoring my way through this one. I do a lot of crafting here in the studio. I spend a lot of time over here. Quite a lot of designing. I was looking at my list, and even though I do like 3 classes a month, there's all the other stuff in between. Customer appreciation gifts and cards, and team reward cards and things like that. So there's always plenty of opportunities for using up Tombow. Right, next we're going to take our flower image, and then also I need another one of those. So I'll run one of those through quickly. Do you remember this scrap that I had left? We'll just use that. And just cut another one out. Like that. It's always good to use up the scraps. And I need to partially cut this, so which one do I need? Let's chop off this rose down here. So I'm just going to go in and around. right next to the line where they both join. Just trim around that leaf. We've lost half the leaf there, but it won't really show. And then we'll just go in that little nook and tidy up that bit. Make sure everything else is okay. And then give it a little curl. Turn the foliage back up. That's what I like to do, just so it feels like it's popping a little. And then we'll add some dimensionals behind that. We don't need too many because it's quite a large layer, but just sort of want it to balance. Before we go any further, we're going to lay this down onto our base. Otherwise, we're going to have too much going on to... I don't know why I turned that over then, because our cardstock is double-sided, but I always feel like it has an edge on it. So I can kind of feel an edge there, which makes me want to fold it in on that. Anyone else do that? I know I'm quite particular and I can't really do a lot about that, but I guess we just like to do things the way we like to do things, don't we? Right, so next layer down. I will be having a play, so after I've done this live, I'm going to grab a coffee and I need to do some more filming for a class. So I need to figure out that zoom, why I can't zoom in, because that isn't good. Hi Kerry, how are you doing? Nice to hear from you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, the great thing about this is that you can always catch up on the replay, either on here or on my YouTube channel. So we also need another greeting. So let's pull back in the grey granite. Our little foamy mat, because we're using photopolymer, and that just helps. Really does make a difference. And we'll try and get this one square. I love this font. It kind of makes me, it feels a bit Art Deco to me. And just snip it off. Pop some dimensionals behind there. Oop. That one stuck back on me. And we'll start with putting the grey granite away, because we're getting near to the end of the card and it's bound to get dropped in, isn't it? Right, we're going to take the backs off of this beautiful Layers of Beauty flower. So we're using 2 stamp sets this morning, Kerry. They're Layers of Beauty and the My Small Business. And we've been colouring in this beautiful image with blending brushes and the masks. Is it cold there? Well, I feel bad for saying that it's cold here, but it's chillier than it was, we'll just say. We thought we were going to have a bit of a summer, and then we had like a heat wave, and then it's just like blown away. So it's breezy, the air is chilly. It'd be just nice to have some consistency. So is it really cold there? Not sure how cold your winter would actually get compared to ours. But I do love that we have seasons. I just wished our summer was a bit more consistent. I haven't really, I mean, I have put my winter wardrobe away, but I'm still having to pull some like jumpers out and some layers, just because we've had some chilly days. Right, I'm going to pop down my thanks down at the bottom there. I want to tuck that over the top? Yeah. And then we're just going to pop in these two bits of foliage just to break it up. Come on, Tombo. Wakey, wakey. You're going to be ordering this set this week. It's about 15 degrees today. Yeah, ours is about that at the minute. Just going to pop, sorry, my hand was right in the way then. One there and one down here just to break it up. It's such a beautiful set. Honestly, it's something that will just keep coming, and you will just keep bringing it out for so many different occasions. How beautiful. I just love this colour combo that I've put together. Pinks and the purples and the soft green of Soft Sea Foam. My original splattage was a little better. It's a bit stronger, but... And my colour, can you see just how pressing slightly harder when you're doing that second layer of the masking, what a difference it makes. But I still don't, I like this as well. Also, what you can do, the one mask, is that the mask that I've not used? Let's just have a quick look without trying to get ink all over me. Yeah, the mask I didn't use, the number 3, actually has these dots here are what colours in the centres of the flowers. So you could just go in and do the centres of the flowers without doing the extra layer on the actual roses. So that's project number 2. That's one side. I've got one more left to do, and I have been on here way long enough. You guys will all be disappearing. So I've got another 3D project for you, really sweet and simple one. Another good one, just for popping in a gift card or something. So, where are my measurements? I've got a piece of UK A4 and I've chopped it to 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. You could, these measurements will work if you've got a smaller piece of card. If you're a bit savvy with measuring things, then you can make this any size you want to. But I kind of like to make things at 5 3/4 because then I can get 2 from one sheet of A4. So we're going to start with some scoring. Really simple scoring. I'm going to pop it in landscape and just score it at 2.5 and 5.5. Let's put that back in there. And let me just fathom out which is my lid. So we have three different size panels here. Where's my ruler hiding? The panel, got one panel at 2.5, one at 3, and one at 2 3/4. Now on the 2 3/4 panel, I'm going to turn this over so that the mountain side of the score is up. So you've got the bumpy bit there. I'm going to take my pencil. I'm just peeking at my original to make sure that I know, yeah, make sure I'm doing it right. As I said, I created these a little while ago and I've forgotten how I've done this. And what I'm going to do is make a mark with my pencil. I'm just checking my measurements. You know, when you just don't trust yourself. I've got it written down, but I'm like, is that right? So I'm going to make a mark from the bottom at about 1 inch up and then across at 2 inches. Okay. So I've just drawn a dot 1 inch up and 2 inches across. And then on the other side, I'm going to do 1 inch up as well. And we could actually draw that in and then you'll be able to see what I mean. So we'll just pencil that in. Like that. So remember that's on the larger panel at the bottom, and we've just drawn a little mark, and I'm just going to trim that off. I'm going to do that in my guillotine, which I've moved out of the way because I was cutting some kits to post out to my team so that they can stamp live with me. So we end up with a panel like that. Next, we have a panel of fresh freesia, which measures 2.5 by 5.5, and that is going to sit on here like this. Now, there is probably some great way of working out how to get a layer when you've cut angles off like this, but I'm going to show you my way that I do it because I find it's just easy to do it by eye, and it doesn't always work, so we shall see. So I'm just hovering it, so I forgot you're not on Zoom. I'm just creating an even border around these 3 edges, and I want that to be quite precise if I can. This could go awfully wrong, but you know, live stamping. And then I'm just going to, it's a job to see where I am. I think it'll be fine no matter what. Let's just go with it. And I'm going to do a little mark along the bottom there to where I want it to line in with the white edge of the paper. Does that make sense? If I hold my ruler. So if I do a little line like that, I want to cut it off somewhere about there. I'm just drawn over everything. And then again the same, I'm just going to sort of roughly measure up, that was a bit high, the same distance, and I'm kind of working back to front, which isn't helpful. I'm looking at this line here and this white line here and just creating kind of an even border. We'll cut it. If it goes wrong, we'll do another bit and cut it again. I've got washi tape stuck to me. Putting pencil everywhere. So I've kind of, what you could do, I wonder if that would work. Is that how I did it before? Yeah, that would make more sense, but then we don't know that measurement. So I've hovered it over, and then I'm looking at my white layer underneath, and I'm just creating that same kind of depth of border. I've made marks on the fresh freesia layer. Let's cut it and see if it works. It worked originally, and it's worked in the past. But my brain is just not good at measurements. I don't know if you can hear me, I'm down the other end of my studio. Moment of truth. That works fine. Okay, so if you fancy having a go, do it the way that I've just said, and then you don't have to think about measuring. So that layer then just sits on top, and we've got a nice even border all the way around. What I want to do with that one though is run it through the embossing folder, so I'll do that quickly. So that we end up with that lovely waffle cone, what I call in waffle cone layer. Okay, we can stick that one down. Where's my Tombow gone? Right under my nose. Let's just add that one to the base. a little bit out. It's a bit wider here, but I'm not going to worry about that. Once we've got everything on there, you're not really going to notice. And to be fair, you could put that in your trimmer and just trim off a little bit, which I will do. Just take off a little smidge. Oh, that was a bit too much, but it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Right, next I need to do another little bit of die cutting. So I need another circle. And I need another bit of foliage as well. Let's find another scrap. So I want another one of these because they're so lovely. I'll run that through quickly. Hoping it doesn't move. Oh, I just love a stitch edge. Beautiful. Just finishes everything off, doesn't it? Let's push that one out. Push those bits out as well because we don't want to leave those in for next time. Get rid of those bits in there. Stamp one more greeting. Still got some left there. Gonna do the same one. You could use different ones, of course. I do actually love this one, but I would want to fussy cut that out like I did on my treat. So I fussy cut that one out and layered it. And I've been long enough this morning. Right, we'll just stamp that one down. We've already done our stamped flower because we did the whole large one to start with. Then we have got a little bit more stamping. I was telling a fib. From the Layers of Beauty, I've mounted this cute little flower, and we're just going to stamp randomly in Bubble Bath onto Bubble Bath card. Oops, what are you doing? Don't hide it. We need to see what we're doing. Let's just see if Zoom's working. No, I don't know why it's not doing that. And we're just going to randomly stamp a background in Bubble Bath, on Bubble Bath. Now you could use Versamark for this. You'd get the same kind of effect, like tone on tone. That will do. So I've just created a really subtle background on there. That will dry in a bit paler as well. And I think what I did on my original too, let's pull back in the blending brush. Take a bit off, and let's just add a bit around the edges, because I think that's what I did on my original, just to create a soft edge. It's so annoying that you're a million miles away and that I can't zoom you in. Whoops, That won't hurt, it's on the back. I need to re-ink this one now. Can you see that kind of like pale patch? That will do, that's enough. It just adds a little bit of, gives it a little bit of depth around the edges. Let's give this a little score, crease rather, already scored it. And then we're going to pop this layer. Why does that not fit? How can that be? Let me look at my measurements. Where's my ruler? Just got to trim a bit off. 5 3/4 by 2.5. I cut that at 2.5 as well. Maybe that's what I've done. Yeah. Another blonde moment. There are plenty of those around here. I think I might have to take another 1/8 off. That's better. I was 1/4 of an inch too big. Right, I just need to pull back that and just make sure that there's enough colour on that edge that I've just trimmed. And that's where I dropped it in the ink, but it's on the back, so nobody will ever know. Stick that one down. Hold it for a minute. And then you can see we've got this little folding wallet. You could find a multitude of uses for this. Now I've taken a strip of the bubble bath. You could use whichever colour you wanted. You could even go with the soft sea foam. But I've cut it kind of lengthways from an A4 piece because would it have worked the other way? If you haven't got, I mean, if you want to use up scraps, you may just find a piece that's long enough to go this way around. But I wanted to go this way around, which is why I needed to use the length. So, did I say what it was? 1 inch. And I want my join to be here. Okay. And I've also got, so it won't go all the way around, I've got an extending piece as well. So, let me think where my join is going to be. If I start there and wrap round, that will be all right. I'm going to be hiding the join as that's where I'm going. You could have the join at the back, but I'd rather hide it if I can. So hopefully this will work. So I'm just going to hold it, wrap it around, hold it square so that when it wraps it comes around in the same angle, and then wrap it again. Can you see it just doesn't reach? So I will make my join there using a scrap. Now I did have a couple of goes at doing this belly band because the first one I did was just way too big, annoyingly, so I had to cut another one. But now we've got that line in there. Need to line that up, make sure that's in line, and give it a crease. And the same, make sure the bottom of there is in line. And then we're going to, that was a noisy bike. Pop that on. I'm going to trim this bit down because it doesn't need to be quite so big. So again, I've just cut this to 1 inch depth. And we're just going to add a bit of Tombow either side. And I'm going to do it more that way because I don't want this little panel to show, and we're going to be popping that on the top. Right, now let's make sure this isn't too big. Could well be, so let's just like pull it in a bit and then press it down. If it's too tight, it's not going to come off, and if it's too big, it's going to be wobbling around everywhere. Okay, so that should be fine. We'll just let it settle for a minute. Now we're going to pull it down just to where the bottom of that fresh freesia touches, and we're going to add on our circle. Like that. So in this pointy area. Take our flower that we did earlier, and I'm just going to trim off those rough edges. They're kind of going to be hidden, but just trim around that a bit closer. Give it a little crease. Turn the edges of the foliage up gently because you don't want to break them off. Pop a couple of dimensionals behind. I'm only going to put 2 on here. We don't need a whole load. And we're just going to have that up at the top right hand side. I'm going to pop our greeting in there as well. You can hear a fly coming now. And just add that down in, so it's just kind of hiding the bottom of that flower, but not overhanging this bottom corner. And straight if possible. Is that straight? I think it is. And then to finish, we'll just pop in and we could have added extra embellishments to this. You could enhance on this by popping in some gems or something, or tying with ribbon. Obviously optional extras. And then we just have, she says if she can get it off. Oh, oh, little bricky error. I think the reason it's not coming off is because there's a dimensional under there. We need to take that one off where it's overhanging. Oh, I love it when it goes wrong because, you know, I am just human. Right, let's straighten that up. Stick that back down. And then I'm going to pull off that one that's overhanging there. So remember not to put one right at the end, guys. I'm going to pull that one off and then take an adhesive remover or just a rubber, and it will completely remove all of that backing. That's one thing I love about our dimensionals. And then you've just got this little pouch. Now you could seal the edges on here so that if you're popping money in there or a gift card, that it wouldn't fall out. But with the belly band on the side there, that kind of just reinforces that that won't happen. And then it just slides back on. And then you've got a sweet little gift to give with your card, along with some chocolate too, or some treats. So a little trio of goodness that you could gift to somebody. I have been on here way long enough, just over an hour and a half, which is way too long really for me to be going live with you all, but I love sharing my time with you. I know there's a lot of you that appreciate it out there because you message me and tell me, so thank you for that. I'm just tidying up as we speak. What am I like? But this set is adorable. Absolutely adorable. And you can see how easy it was to add the colour with the masks. So I hope you've enjoyed. Cut all these pieces ready, look, for and I just used that one piece, and these were all the pieces that were the right side. I hope you've enjoyed spending some time with me, and thank you, ladies, that's lovely. I'm glad you've enjoyed them. Yeah, I'm loving these colours, Jill, really loving them. Hopefully I will get the zoom sorted, because I just don't understand why it's not doing that, because it's nice to see things close up and the process. So all 3 projects just from one big stamped image that we've chopped into, using some really soft, subtle colours. So I'm excited to listen back to see how good the sound is. I know the camera is way much better on this new iPhone. So yes, onwards and upwards. Anyway, I am in desperate need of a coffee, so I'm going to love you and leave you. If you want to purchase kits for these projects I'm showing you today, you can do that along with the kits for the live on the 3rd Tuesday. The kits will close today if you want to go live with me. How do I explain that better? If you want to stamp live with me on the 3rd Tuesday, you need to book your kits today. You need to purchase today so that I can get them cut and get them posted so that they arrive with you in time for the 20th. If you want just the 3 cards, not the 20th, the 16th. If you want the 3 cards that I'll be stamping with on the 16th, they will cost you £12. I think that includes postage. But if you add on these kits as well, that will cost you £20. And then you've got the live will always be there and uploaded to YouTube, that you can, put them together in your own time. Right, thank you so much for joining me. I will catch up with you all very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day and take care, and bye for now.